Many executives with type 2 diabetes want to start an exercise routine but fear that it will take too much of their time. But there's a simple 9-step exercise framework that my clients have used to build muscle so that they can balance their blood sugar levels and boost their energy while cutting their workout hours to just 1 to 2 hours per week, even without going to the gym. In this video, I'll show you what these 9 steps are and how you can start doing effective exercise without wasting time or energy. To start with, what's the main purpose of exercise? It should be to stimulate muscle growth. Why? Because muscle absorbs up to 80% of blood sugar in healthy individuals. This helps regulate blood sugar levels and boost energy. The more muscle you have, the better for you. To stimulate muscle growth, muscles have to perform at their best, but with balance. Hence the acronym for my 9-step exercise framework, Perform with Balance. The first letter is P, and P stands for place. Pick the best place. Start by choosing a place that fits your lifestyle. Some people thrive at the gym, whereas other people thrive at home. If you're training at home, you'll need some pairs of dumbbells to complement your bodyweight movements such as push-ups and squats. What matters most isn't where you train, but that you train consistently and with science. A predictable environment will help you be consistent with your workouts. The next letter is E, establish. Establish your rhythm. You only need 2 to 3 focused exercise sessions per week, each lasting 30 to 60 minutes at most. For 2 sessions, you could do Monday and Thursday or Tuesday and Friday, while if you choose 3 sessions, then you could do Monday, Wednesday and Friday, or Tuesday, Thursday and Saturday. Personally, I prefer Monday, Wednesday, Friday, as that leaves weekends free for rest and recovery. The right structure will create sustainability for your exercise routines. The next letter is R, reserve. Reserve your best time. Pick a time when you'll be able to bring your best energy to the workout, a time when you'll be focused, fed, and free from distractions. Many people leave exercise for the last part of their day when they're stressed, low on energy, and that's a great mistake. It's okay to do your exercise after work, but you should still have the energy to perform. Sleep well, that is for at least 7 hours on the night before your exercise session so that you wake up feeling energized and refreshed. Try to train within 1 hour of having a meal to ensure that you have the energy to perform. For beginners, I don't recommend working out on an empty stomach. I recommend that you have a pre-workout snack within 30 minutes of training and then have a larger meal within an hour afterward to maximize recovery. Use your best energy window to build muscle. You'll feel the benefits in both your health and work. Moving on to F, focus. Focus on the main thing. You'll be working out only 2 to 3 times a week, so you don't have time to waste on junk exercise. Exercise that will tire you out and deliver nothing. Therefore, focus on compound movements. Exercises that train multiple muscles all at once. For example, push-ups for your pushing muscles, that is, chest, front and side shoulders, and triceps. Dumbbell bent over rows for your pulling muscles, that is, back, rear shoulders, and biceps. And finally, goblet squats for your legs, that is, thighs and buttocks. Make these exercises as effective as possible by performing them with the correct form, proper posture, and full range of motion. Don't rush. Focus on each movement. Feel it and stay in control. Master these 3 compound movements, push, pull, and legs, and you've already trained your whole body efficiently. All right, moving on to O, optimize. Once you're confident with the 3 movements, push, pull, and legs, it's now time to do them at the right dose. Think of paracetamol for a headache. The effective dose is 2 tablets. If you took 1 tablet, you might not get the best relief for your pain. In exercise, this dose is called volume. Volume is simply the number of rounds or sets that you perform for each exercise. A set is a collection of repetitions or reps done at one go without resting. For example, if you do 8 squats and then rest, that is 1 set of 8 repetitions of squats. The minimum effective volume that you need to do each week in order to build muscle is about 8 sets per exercise. For example, if you've chosen to train twice a week, then that means 4 sets of each exercise on Monday and then 4 sets of each exercise on Thursday. If you've chosen to train 3 times a week, then that means 3 sets of each exercise on Monday and then 2 to 3 sets of each exercise on Wednesday and then 3 sets of each exercise on Friday. For your workout to be effective, each set must be high quality. That is, taken to or close to failure. What is failure? Failure is when the muscle you're targeting gets so fatigued that it can't continue with good form. Therefore, a high-quality set of 8 push-ups means that by the 8th repetition, you can barely do another, maybe just 1 or 2 with good form. If you find yourself hitting your target reps per set and feel no tension in the muscle, then you need to either lift a heavier weight for that exercise or do a more advanced variation of that exercise so that you fatigue sooner. You should take note of this. I wouldn't advise beginners to train all the way to total failure. Getting 1, 2, or 3 reps close to failure is enough to start building muscle while avoiding extreme soreness and injury. Prioritize high-quality reps with proper form over doing many reps. As you advance, you can then push closer to failure to ensure you continue stimulating your muscle to grow. Next is R, regimen. Execute your regimen. Start with a warm-up. A good warm-up protects you from injury while increasing your performance. You should warm up with the exact muscle that you intend to train by doing an easier variation of the exercise or lifting a lighter weight for fewer repetitions. For example, if you plan to do push-ups, don't go on a jog. Instead, do an easier variation of push-ups, for example, knee push-ups. Or if your working weight for dumbbell bent over rows is 10 kilograms per hand, then warm up with 5 kilograms per hand for, say, 10 repetitions. As you warm up, focus on perfect form. Don't rush. Feel each movement. This makes your workout safer and more effective. Here's a simple regimen that beginners can do on their first day of training. Perform 3 to 4 high-quality sets for each of the 3 movements: push, pull, and legs. If you plan to do 2 sessions per week, then go with 4 sets per exercise. Aim for 8 reps per set. Rest for 1 to 3 minutes between sets, long enough to perform the next sets at the same intensity. However, don't rest for too long. It's best to complete one exercise at a time. That is, finish all your sets for, say, push-ups, then move on to all your sets for dumbbell bent over rows, and then conclude by doing all your sets for squats. However, if you're short on time, here's a trick. You can perform what is called a tri-set. 3 exercises done back to back with minimum rest between. For example, you can do your first set of push-ups, then have a mini rest of no longer than 30 seconds, move on to your first set of dumbbell bent over rows, have another mini rest of no longer than 30 seconds, and then do your first set of squats, and then have a full break of 1 to 3 minutes. That completes your first tri-set. Then repeat to complete your workout. This saves time while still being effective. However, once you're more advanced and doing more than 3 exercises per workout, I do not recommend combining more than 3 exercises at a go. The effectiveness of your muscle building routine will diminish. Alright, so that was day 1 of your Lift to Build exercise framework. Go on to complete the remaining workouts for your first week. The next letter is M, momentum. Build momentum. In order to build muscle, you need to progress in your training week on week. The simplest way to do this is by increasing the total number of sets by 1 every 1 to 2 weeks until you've completed 5 to 6 weeks of training. This gradual increase in volume is what drives muscle growth. For example, in weeks 1 and 2, you can perform 8 sets per exercise per week, and then in weeks 3 and 4, you can increase that by 1 to 9 sets per exercise per week, and finally, in weeks 5 and 6, you can perform 10 sets per exercise per week. Each week, also work on improving your form so that your performance improves as your volume increases. Alright, so now you're done with exercising. It's now time to ensure that you recover from your workouts. So that's where W and B come in. W stands for watch. Watch and recover. Expect to be sore within 12 to 72 hours after your exercise. That's a sign that your muscles are being stimulated to grow. It's a good thing. If you're resting and eating well between workout sessions, this soreness should resolve before your next workout. If it doesn't resolve, and yet your nutrition and sleep are good, it usually means that you did too much volume for one or more exercises in the previous workout. What should you do in this case? Reduce the number of sets for the affected muscle and keep it there for the rest of your 5 to 6 week cycle. You can still increase the training volume of the affected muscle, but by increasing the number of repetitions by 1 or 2 each week. This will be more tolerable for the muscle in question. For example, if 8 sets of squats felt fine, but increasing to 10 sets caused the soreness in your thighs to spill over into your next workout more than once, reduce the number of sets for squats to 9 and keep it there. To keep progressing with your squats, increase the number of repetitions per set by 1 each week. What if you never feel sore? Well, that isn't ideal either. It means you're not stimulating muscle growth effectively. In that case, increase the number of sets done for the muscle in question by 1 each week until you can no longer recover from the soreness. Always eat well and sleep for at least 7 hours each night, especially after working out. And if you consistently show up for workout sessions feeling low on energy, review your nutrition and sleep, and even consider reducing your volume or number of exercise sessions. Remember, growth happens during recovery, not in the gym. The final letter is B, break. Take an intentional break. After about 5 to 6 weeks of training, take an intentional break for 1 to 2 weeks, whether or not you feel fatigued. During this break, you can either lift lighter weights for fewer number of sets or do nothing entirely. Don't worry, you will get back any gains lost within the first 1 to 2 weeks of your next training cycle, and your muscles will rebound stronger and better. During this extended break, be sure to eat well and sleep well. Think of your body as a computer upgrading its operating system so that it can perform better when you get back to work. So what do you do during your next training cycle? Well, you can either increase the starting set number by 1 or 2, or increase the starting repetition number by 1 or 2, and then do everything as we have just discussed to complete another cycle of 5 to 6 weeks. After 2 or 3 cycles, it may be beneficial for you to switch up the exercises so that you shock your body in a different way. You could also consider increasing the number of exercises per workout, but this is more for intermediates and advanced. That's my Live to Build framework. Simple enough for any beginner executive to get started exercising without wasting time. Alright, so click here to watch another video and speak soon.